Really good episode for you today. We're going to hit on three main things today. I haven't done a video in a few days again. When you see a video from me, just know there's going to be some really solid stuff in the video. So you're not going to see a video from me just because it's Tuesday and I should put out a video. So over the weekend, we have some important things that really impact the macro on what we're looking for, why we invest, and how we invest. First off, on our agenda, oil is back. Now, specifically, oil took a hit last week because of the Colonial Pipeline. Apparently, there was a hacker, I forget what their name is, Dark Side, I think was the name of it. Colonial Pipeline paid a $5 million, presumably Bitcoin ransom, to basically free up their digital infrastructure. So oil's back, it's pumping, but realize that oil in those pipelines goes about 4 miles an hour. So if you're going about 600 miles, you're looking at about, what is that, 15 hours roughly. So it takes a long time. Obviously, let's say you're at 1,000 miles, you're looking at about 25 hours. That's a day. I mean, it takes a long time for it to get where it goes. And that's just traveling, much less into trucks, distribution, and a gas station. So things will be back. Just right now, we're looking at logistics as kind of the main thing. Now, the one thing that nobody's talking about, and I'm shocked, is about a week ago, and this was, gosh, probably 3 days before the whole pipeline thing went down. If you guys haven't watched the YouTube channel for the Jimmy Dore Show, you need to do that. Go back, and there's a video from about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago maybe, and they were talking about how the biggest fuel spill in American history that nobody in the media is talking about. And I was like, initially I didn't listen to it. I mean, I watched a lot of his videos. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then, I went to his channel again and I'm like, all right, well, I don't really have anything else that's top of mind. So yeah, I'll put it on. And they mentioned the Colonial Pipeline and the fact that they had, I forget how many millions of gallons of it. And it wasn't oil. I think it was natural gas, or it could have been crude oil. It could have been gasoline. No, it was gasoline, actually, now that I think about it. And they said, it was an oil spill. And they talked about it was in North Carolina, and just, it was craziness. And then a couple days later, all of a sudden, this same pipeline gets hacked. So I don't know what to make of it, but the timing seems really weird. And it seems like kind of the tail wagging the dog, so to speak. And so, the question is, was that to potentially take, kind of put him in the news, but put him in the news for something different, so nobody thought about the other one. Anyway, make up your own mind, but the timing was really suspect. The fact that one day they're talking about the biggest fuel spill, and it was gasoline, not oil, gasoline spill in American history, just based on number of gallons spilling. And you can watch that video yourself, the Jimmy Dore Show. And then a couple days later, all of a sudden, there's a hack. It just sounds shady. And it was a group that nobody's really heard of before. And then came out yesterday that apparently this group is disbanding, which really sounds crazy. I mean, you get $5 million in Bitcoin, and all of a sudden you're going to shut down your hacking operations? It doesn't make sense. Something's up. There's some shenanigans, and there's something that people aren't telling us. So maybe there's more to come on that. Pay attention. So that's number one. Oil is back. So with that in mind, we'll look at some of the stocks we have here. So biggest movement in just one day. Let's see, HL, which is a mining stock. I guess that really doesn't impact it. CDE is kind of the same type of stock. PVAC went up 8%. Blink Charging went up 7%. And I'm not sure if that's just a play off of the fuel spill, just because they do charging stations, or it's because of a Biden thing where he's trying to get a bill passed where they give a lot of incentives to build charging stations. But Helix Energy is the same thing. And then past that, there's not really any big gainers. If we look at 2 days, let's see if we have any oil stocks here. We have a mining stock, Blink Charging, Target Hospitality, which is that they do accommodations and food service in Texas for the miners. And then we have PVAC up here and Helix Energy. So yeah, we kind of see that as an overall thing. As the price of oil goes up, you're going to see these stocks go up as well. So, and as they go down, it may just be a demand thing. So we'll see how that plays out. It's tough to say, but overall, oil's on a positive trend line no matter what happens, just because demand is going up. Whenever there's demand, there's more oil that is needed. All right, so number two, the UFC was back this weekend. They had a full house in Houston, Texas. And if you didn't watch it, I didn't watch the whole thing because I don't have pay-per-view, but I did watch the prelims. And I will tell you this, that crowd was loud and they were really into it. Full house. Even the announcers, normally they're separated by 10 to 15 feet. They were sitting right next to each other as normal, no masks, everything. Guys, this is just showing, it's just an exhibition to show everybody that the pandemic's over. You're acting like normal. This is a normal event, 20,000 people in an indoor arena. Everybody's close together. You don't necessarily have to wear masks. And you know what? Unless there's some massive outbreak, then we're looking at exhibit A on why that we know the pandemic's over. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine this weekend as well, and they were talking about, we were at the Padres game on Friday, and he was talking about how I think it was like 60% of the American public has been vaccinated, something like that. And we're talking about herd immunity. I'm like, well, what about natural immunity? Think about all the people that got COVID that have antibodies in their body. So you get all the people that have been vaccinated and all the people that have natural antibodies in their bodies, and you're probably up at 90+% of the population is not a threat of COVID. And then even of those 10%, those people aren't necessarily, they're not really the people that are going to die. They're probably the 18-year-olds and the 14-year-olds and things like that. So realistically, the people who COVID would have gotten, they already got them. They're either died, recovered, or whatever. But really, it's the slim pickings really on the tree right now as far as COVID goes. So things are moving in the right direction. If you don't have recovery stocks in, you need to get those in. And you may not be getting the 7 times return that we got when we banked down early, but there's still a lot of money to be made. I was watching one of the business channels today, and they were talking about the fact that all the numbers are showing that the recovery is not done yet. We haven't even barely started baseball season. The summer hasn't started. Pools haven't opened. Concerts haven't started. Cruises haven't started. There's so much out there for demand to happen. And we're not just going to go back to February 20th, 2020, which, is kind of, where we're at before the COVID crash. There's so much money that's been shoved in the economy, whether it's from the federal government or people taking the stimulus checks and investing in Robinhood, which you probably did. I know I did. But there's so much money. There's an incredible amount of pent-up demand. And I can tell you out here in California, June 15th is the day that all the restrictions are going to be lifted here in California. And everybody is waiting. I can't wait till the first Padres game when they're a full house, 38,000 or whatever people. It's going to be so unbelievably loud. And I think it's going to catch everybody by storm. When you start to see the first cruises leave Fort Lauderdale and Miami, big thing as well. So one of the things, again, you look at things like that UFC event in Houston this past weekend, and you get a sense that people are getting to see that, look, this is an example that the pandemic really is over. Now, the news people don't want to say it because it kills ratings. What would happen if all of a sudden you went on you're on the news person, you go, guess what, the pandemic's over. Well, there's no reason to watch the news anymore. They don't want that. But when you watch things like the UFC event, you understand that this is the epitome showing that the pandemic's over. And the only thing you got to do is you got to get your money in early before the rest of the people out there do the same. Lastly, this was pretty funny on the crypto side. Elon Musk, if you take a look at Bitcoin over the last few days, we'll take a look at, see if we have it down here. Bitcoin went down, well, it shows 0.0, but it went down from almost 60%. We'll take a look at that right here. And we'll watch it over the last couple days, so we'll just pull the last week. All right, can't really see it from there. But you went basically at a point where it was 58,000 right up here, and it just slowly went down, and now it's sitting here at 43,000. And I'm at a point where I'm like, dude, if it goes under 40, I'll buy it. Now, if it bounces back up and goes back up, fine. If I lose out on that, it's not a big deal. But if it goes under 40, I'm definitely considering getting some. And the reason is our friend Elon Musk. So if we look at, in fact, we're gonna get Doggy Coin. They call it Dogecoin. It's Dog E Coin, hence the dog logo on it. But somebody put a tweet out here, Mr. Whale, wasn't even blue checked, so Elon Musk watched it, which is crazy. Elon Musk is on Twitter, and he's not just responding just to blue checks, but just to anybody. And this guy wrote on Saturday, or it might have been No, it was Sunday. He goes, Bitcoiners are going to slap themselves next quarter when they find out Tesla dumped the rest of their Bitcoin holdings. With the amount of hate Elon Musk is, oh, so he at mentioned him, so he's smart. Elon Musk responds if you at mention him. The amount of hate Elon Musk is getting, I wouldn't blame him. And Elon Musk says, indeed. So the question is, what does indeed meant? So does it mean indeed down here? I wouldn't blame him, indeed, or is it this indeed? Well, the people who are looking at Bitcoin viewed it as the first one, and that's where you see you start to see it go down, 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 and then here's the 16th, and that's the response from about right here, where it's at 50,000, and it dropped down all the way down to about 42.5. And that was just basically based off his tweet. And the first thing when I saw this, I'm like, dude, you had some SEC issues. Now, if this guy's sitting here postulating that there's an unreported movement of Bitcoin out of Tesla and that it's not there anymore, and people are going to find out the next time that they have to give some public statement. So it's inside information in a sense is what he's inferring right there. And Elon Musk says, indeed, if that were the case, then Elon Musk has a big issue with the SEC in his hands. So he actually came out publicly after that and said, look, I'm not talking about that. We still have all our Bitcoin. But what this guy said was, pretty well on target as far as, kind of what's going to happen to Bitcoin, just assuming that's going to go down. And you got to remember, Elon Musk is the same guy that said his own stock was overvalued. So anyway, the whole point on that, we'll see if the SEC does anything. They're a bunch of bureaucrats and they just need something to do. And it's a nice headline and you get to meet Elon Musk. So we'll see what happens with that. But it basically took Bitcoin down pretty precipitously. And then Doggy Coin, on the other hand, didn't move. It didn't move. This is the Elon Musk stock. So we look at the 16th right here. And let's see, when was this stuff? This was done the 16th. Do we have a timestamp on this? No, we'll just call it the 16th and take a look at it. So look at the 16th, and it went down a little bit from about 53 cents to all of 50 cents, so it really didn't move. So they're mentioned Bitcoin. Elon responds, Bitcoin goes down. The same thing with Doggy Coin as well. So you might want to look at Bitcoin. I'm ambivalent on that, but if it goes under 30, if it goes under 40, I'm going to be less ambivalent. I'm going to probably buy a small piece of it. So because eventually it is going up. It is the headline cryptocurrency that everybody uses if they're going to be using cryptocurrency. So with that being said, we'll look at stocks overall. Biggest winners in the last day. HL and CDE are mining stocks. So I forget what they mine, but they're just like, I don't know if it's silver or what have you. Place, which is a children's place in the mall, that's up 8%. Again, that's a recovery stock. Ashford Hospitality is a recovery stock. They do hotels and casinos. GameStop's up 11. AINC, which is a hospitality stock, is up 9. PVAC and Nikola, which are kind of opposites, and Blink as well, up 7. And then we got to get to numbers that are so small. Beyond that, Bitcoin and Doge are the only ones that really went down in the last day. Last 2 days, we have a bunch of nice moving stocks in our portfolio here. Same stocks for the most part. Braemar Resorts is up there at 15%. Texas Hospitality is up at 13%. A lot of good movement. Negative, not much. Bitcoin. Soho's down 3. I'm not really sure why. That one's kind of odd. But overall, we're sitting here at 222,000 in holdings. Went up basically 12,000 in the last 2 days. I forgot to reset that. So sitting here at 160 total, gain of 130. We're up 380%. Can't wait to get over 400 again. That will be coming pretty soon. I did put a buy on Braemar Resorts at 525 just because it dropped a little bit. So let's go ahead and open Braemar Resorts up. Let's get Braemar. There we go. All right, and this is basically, they do kind of hotels and casinos and that type of thing. It's actually one of my favorite stocks. I bought it at like $1.25, so it's done really, really well. But if we look at them over the last month, they were up at about 685. They took a precipitous drop. They got down to about 506. I didn't see that at the time. It went up to 595, 546, and that's kind of when I bought it right there. Is about or put the order in it to buy it at 525 if it goes down any further. If it doesn't, fine. We have an average cost of 209. I don't normally buy at 525 if my cost basis is 209, but it's such a great stock. I'm willing to eat the ego boost that you're going to drop the upside, but overall you're going to take the bigger gain, and this is a good stock to do so. So with that being said, if it fills, it fills. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then we have our evil duos. These are the stocks that are basically, I was looking at this, and I'll show you some of the numbers that just, I don't know what's going on. They're the red-headed stepchildren. They're good stocks, but for whatever reason, they're tremendously undervalued. If I had ability to buy these stocks right now where they're at, I would buy them again, but I would just buy them at the lower amount and then just make a sick amount of money later. So it's up to you whether you want to do that or not, but that's kind of one of the things that I would consider doing. But these all have active sells on them just because I want to free up money and do some other things with them. Travel, as we look at segments, travel's up 60%. Pretty much everything's well in the black except for two small ones. Those will be in the red, the two cruise lines pretty soon. Entertainment, doing very good, up 53%. Cinemark is down. That'll be up. Remember, there's a ton of big movies coming out. Oil's up 200%, meaning we tripled our money on that. Casinos are up 140%. Basically, everything's very well. MGM's about break even, and Penn National Gaming, again, I'd buy this one where it was at right now without a doubt. So I like it at 123. I'd love it at 81. So some things to think about. And then the red-headed stepchildren. Blink is doing good. Fuel Cell is down 50. Fubo's down 46. Next ID is 32. Skills is down 29. Future FinTech is down 47. And I looked at that and I'm like, all right, this is down 3,000. We'll just call it 5,500, another 3,000, 8,500, 8,600, 9,000, 14,000, 18,000, between these big stocks with the big downside, down 21,000. So I was looking at that the other day and I'm like, man, I would be up at 241,000. So if I did that, I mean, literally I'd be, let's say we did, and I'm going to just change it back. I'd be at 435% if we were at that point. So those will come back. I'm not too worried about that. Good news on this front. I actually got into one of my law schools, so somebody's getting a big check pretty soon, and we're going to liquidate some of these stocks, probably the ones in the high end. I'd say Caesars is probably number one. I mean, that's basically my tuition for the first semester at that point. And then the reason I say that is because the ones that are down the most are probably going to be the ones I hold on the longest. But these stocks also have a history of popping, so I'm also taking a look at stocks, and if they have some gargantuan day where they're up 33, 40%, I might just take my gain on that and move on. So that's kind of where things are at today. Oil's back. The UFC, meaning the pandemic is over. Just it's not being reported. And crypto, all the crazy stuff in crypto world's back. So if you have any questions, let me know. That's where my mind's at, and that's how I'm looking to make money. What are you going to do? To get more information on the sales cheat code, go ahead and click on the subscribe button below. Also, down below in the video description, down there, there's a link that takes you to our website that gives you additional content, some additional freebies that we have, and gives you information on some programs that we have that have been proven to help people to make sales easy so that you can make the kind of money you want, live the lifestyle that you've always wanted, and not have to struggle in the process. And what might be the coolest thing of all is you don't have to put much effort into it. It truly is a cheat code that most people don't know about. And it's a cheat code that can change your life today. So click on the link below and let me help you start to experience these results starting right now.